Welcome to the Do the Impossible podcast. I'm Jason Dries. Don't forget to join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for a free mindset alignment. Go to mondaymindsetreset.com to sign up now. On today's session, talking to an amazing human being. Holden's coming with me from Southern California, fellow Southern Californiaite, although he's still there, I'm not. 48 years old, one son, a holistic body worker, does a lot of work helping people get into alignment. I spend a lot of time doing mental alignment. Holden does a lot of time with physical alignment. So I'm excited to talk to him today. Also has some fun in real estate as well. Holden, great to connect today.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah. So your tan looks good. So
that was just yesterday. That's all.
Nice. That's good. I finally got out to the beach too, or to the lake anyway. So what should we talk about today? What's I'm coaching on?
I mean, I've had this bodywork center. We've always been in a weird niche because we don't fit into a box. Because you got the chiros, you got PTs, you got more orthopedic stuff, and then there's us. We don't really have a name. We're under the massage heading, but we're not. Okay. But what we've done is create a dynamic for people that are in pain. So they've not get any success anywhere else. They have success with us. So okay. I've grown the business, but we plateau. I do way too much of it still. I'm still far too involved. I see too many patients. I'm growing past that, and I've been allotting myself more time. But our biggest issue is trying to keep our staff focused. It's like every 2 weeks, it feels like I'm recalibrating them. Something happens at home with them. They have a hiccup. Their boyfriend goes bad, whatever. And then their productivity goes to crap. And I can't do it all myself and work the way I'm doing. So there's no momentum happening because we keep getting stopped by some sort of drama, not with me, but with the crew. So that's probably one of the things I need help with.
How many people are on your staff?
I got about 10.
So we've got 10 staff, also body workers.
Body workers, support staff, personal trainers.
Body workers, support staff, personal trainers. And the office productivity, like what does that mean when productivity goes to crap?
So I do a lot. When you said I do the physical, I also do a lot of mental because we do a lot of emotional, physical type combination with the patients, but also with the staff. It's like, how do we keep them in alignment with the goal that they're trying to achieve, the rapport that they're building with their clientele, and are they selling? Are they selling memberships? Are they creating retainment? Because if we're not like a mill, so we don't get huge volumes of people, and the people we get stay. But if they're not building that rapport with them, then they just might as well go someplace else because our price point's too high to just go for something fluffy. But if they're not mentally attached to stuff or on point, they're not listening to their customers. They're just doing their routine. So it's keeping them in alignment with that, which is hard.
Do you have the right people?
That's the other issue. Every time I put out an ad for people, we used to get 100 resumes. We get 2 because no one can afford to live where we're at in this industry. The amount of people that used to be trained in it, there's no more schools. So the quantity that we have options for sucks. So it's not taking the best person. It's like, well, you showed up. Congratulations. What can I do with you? And then go from there.
Okay. So that's an interesting analysis of where you are, which is very easy to come to based on your brain, your mind's conclusion about where you're at. Now, that doesn't mean we have to carry that story forward.
Definitely.
Right. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that story right there. Now, venting is normal. Like, here's the situation. So it was, and venting is normal and saying, okay, but at the same time, you're supporting yourself in that space, in that high paying, high cost area of living. So clearly the work you're doing is powerful and it's effective. So do you think this is more of a thing of getting the right people or managing them, or kind of, is it like changing the people or helping them people?
It's both. So one thing I think I told you off air, I took a little trip this weekend to recalibrate and put a whole vision together. The thing that I realized, I don't have systems in place. We don't have KPIs. We don't have SOPs. The employees don't have a firm understanding of what their job is. So they're scooting all over the place. So what I'm in the process of doing is the next 3 weeks, we're putting everything together and streamlining the shit out of it to the point that it's like, okay, now you know exactly where you are, what you're doing. If you don't like it, there's the door, but this is how we're going to run it.
Okay. Are you building those systems?
Me and my wife, believe it or not, she used to do that in her old job. So I just hired her as my COO, which will be a very interesting dynamic.
Because I was going to say, you're probably not a system.
You can't do it.
So like, don't even try.
It's not my wheelhouse at all.
Like and Jason Drees coaching, I'm not either. Like if my systems take forever to build, that's just, my brain just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
So I hired an integrator to do it for me. They literally came in, looked at it, and they basically, and it was actually one of my clients who built a business called Nourish and So, and they're amazing integrators because they basically came in and looked at it and made systems. So
nice.
Let's make sure you're not wasting your time doing something you suck at.
I'm very firm on that one.
Okay. And then one of my mantras from hiring that I picked up from my days working at the Tony Robbins Research International was can do, will do, team fit. Can they do the job?
Will they do the job?
Will they do the job? And are they a team fit? Right? Because if they're not all three, it's not going to work.
Yep. And that's been the issue. It's really hard to find people that fit all three of those with a very tiny pool.
So you have to be more creative.
Any suggestions?
Well, I would let go of that story.
Okay.
Because even though that may have been your reality, we don't want it, as Tony Robbins would say, affecting our reticular activating system. Right. So we want to start shifting the story that I find the right people. We find amazing people because whatever you focus on starts happening. Right. So this, it could be because if you're operating under the story that says, oh, well, I'm a limited market, it's all I can do.
That's when I'm going to show up. Yeah.
That's what's going to show up. But if it's like, wait a second, this is one of the biggest markets in the country as far as its own economies, the biggest one ever. Yes, it's expensive. And maybe there's people who want to be training, and maybe there's an opportunity for you to start a training division or partner with a training division, right?
That's the next stage, actually.
So, and that's why in my own business lately, I've been realizing, am I spending my time focusing on my problems? Or am I focusing on the problem that eliminates all my problems? Because my guess is you've probably gotten to playing a little bit too small. Because as human beings, we will give us enough time, we'll always adapt to the level of the problem as opposed to the level of the solution. Now, because our brain is always running strategies, so it's going to the level of the solution. When you go to the level of the problem, you'll get an answer. But where you want to play is the level of your full potential. Geometric thinking, radical. I'm reading Alex Hormozy's book right now on $100 million offers. And my head is just like sore from thinking differently.
I love his stuff.
I love stuff. Yeah. So part of it is I can see your little rundown, energy, balance. So it's like self-care, balance. And it's hard when you're painted in a corner. But the way it starts happening is you have to, like, if you can start to get yourself into like the frame, which is like the global belief, the macro belief that you're not stuck, then it'll start showing up. Like the first step is the expectations, right?
I think changing the expectations is a good piece of it, but it seems daunting. There's so many different things. Like when writing all the stuff out that we've got to do is so overwhelming. They're like, all right, how do I compartmentalize it down to, all right, this one nugget I'm going to do today. That's what's going to get done, complete, finish, succeed, next nugget. But I'm such an ADD kind of the business mentality of like, we need to get all of this done. How can we do it as efficiently, as quickly as possible? That it's hard for me to focus on one little thing at a time.
Yes, because you need outside help.
Yeah.
You need a coach at a minimum. Either a coach or an integrator, because I'm guessing that you're focusing on all these things, and there's probably only one problem you have to focus on.
Yeah.
Because as Jason Drees coaching was in the, $2 to $3 million revenue range, a small business with a lot of employees, that's like a hard number to be at, right? You understand that, right? That few $1 million with 10 employees, it's like, so, and I kept thinking, okay, well, I got to fix my group coaching program, and I got to write my next book, and then I got to like work on this, and oh my God, the sales team isn't completely optimized, and all of this. And I could think of all of these areas when I look at what does the business do? Well, we do one-on-one coaching, we do group coaching, we do events, but what do I want more of? Well, the foundation is one-on-one coaching. Well, how do I sell one-on-one coaching? Well, you book intro sessions. Okay, so when people book intro sessions, when people book an intro session, a percentage of them buy a coaching contract. So I started to realize I started to solve all of these problems over here because I didn't think I could solve the primary problem because I hadn't been successful in Facebook ads and stuff like that because my business was all referral. So I had assumed that this problem over here, find a way to get more intro sessions, I couldn't do it. So I started creating all these other problems. So what is actually your primary problem, do you think?
Primary problem is what's my primary problem? I think it's I don't want to do as much of it anymore. I enjoy the building, the creation. I enjoy the work. I don't enjoy having to do it as much as I am. But I built 30 years of this. I built such a demand that I woke up this morning and my phone pinged 4 times. I'm dying. Can you help me? And I'm like, part of me, I don't want to answer anymore. But at the same time, I have these grandiose ideas and I want to teach more. I love educating. I love speaking. I'm good at it. I'm inspiring. I can show and explain things in a manner that a 5-year-old can grasp, but actually execute it out. And that's what I'm trying to get to next, is if we can create this model so it's so much more scalable than it is now, that I can then say, all right, now we're going to show other centers to say, you guys are making $150K to $50K a year, struggling, beating the crap out of yourself. I can show you how to make $1 million with half as much work just with this crappy model we have now. So imagine if we had all the systems in place and then say, then teach and teach and teach them to teach the technique as well.
Well, it sounds like you're burnt out.
Oh, yes.
So nothing is going to work until you get rested.
Okay.
Like and when I hear entrepreneurs say they don't want to do the work or they lost the passion, I'll be like, how many breaks have you taken last week and how much sleep did you have? And what happens is you're exhausted. So let's acknowledge the fact that you're exhausted, and you don't need to. And the fact of doing more work right now doesn't make any sense, but we've got to get the fire back, and the fire's there, but the fire is just exhausted. It's been doused because you're exhausted. So you need to get some rest. Maybe it's take a day off, take a couple days off, whatever you need. And maybe you need to like table any thoughts about doing anything in the business for a week.
Yeah. Until you're
give yourself a break, because until you get rested, there's no point. But from the outside, I know you're going to talk there. I cut you off, but it looks like rest, number one. Number two, find somebody to run this, not you. And you said, I think you have a new COO coming in. So, and then what I got excited about hearing you talk, this happens a lot when I'm talking. I'm like an idea machine. I should charge for idea sessions. But what excited me when you were talking there, like, I love teaching. I love training. This methodology works. It's powerful. And you're getting, and it's funny because our career, we sound so similar. I love coaching. I just want to coach, and all the business stuff wears me down. Right. And I was like, you need to start training your own people.
Well, that's what we do.
Create your own.
That's what I've already done it. So it's there. It just needs to be rolled out more. It's marketed and real. So we train all our people. I put together an entire training course already, but never really marketed it well. So that was the big issue. And it's just creating a dynamic where I can eat and grow that at the same time. Because when I physically stop working, our revenue drops so much that we won't be able to make our bills. And that's what scares me.
Okay, so you need a little bit of strategy through that process, and offload is some of what you do, or you jack your rates up more, right? There's got to be, because otherwise we've got to get you out of the primary product spot. How many people could you could you handle in a training class?
30 to 50.
Okay. How many clients do you have in your database?
About 300,000.
Okay.
Actually, I've seen 300,000. We've got probably about 60 or 70.
So you got an email out there and you got 30 people signing up for a course next month.
Yes. But the thing is, the course I teach is for therapists. It's not for individuals. That's the thing. It's like, I want to teach professionals.
Yeah. And of those 300,000 people, how many people do you think out there have a calling to work on bodies?
Probably 2%.
Yes. And you only have 10 staff. So,
yeah.
So big, and when you bring in the people from the start, you can train them better with all the systems, and and it's not selling. Mm-hmm. You're basically delivering more services to the people that is good for them. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're trying to force checkbook out of their. No, it's just like me when we get to the end of a coaching contract. When you get the next coaching contract, it's not selling. It's like it's good for you to stay in coaching, so it's more coaching. Mm-hmm. So when you build them from the ground up, you'll probably have amazing people. Mm-hmm. And the time being, it's more of how do we get you the rest you need and get the space in there and offload the system stuff, Yeah. But when the passion comes back, like with a contact list of 300,000, you can get people like that. Mm-hmm. and he's breathing good. So I would also, let's just check in right now on the conditions for success that may be running. Okay. Because one of the things, I don't know if you've heard me talk about frame, but I'll describe it this way. So your hands will take action, right? So if we know we have to take some action. Your action's controlled by your mind, your mindset, mm-hmm. right? Your mindset is controlled by you, mm-hmm. which I believe is the vibratory frequency of your consciousness in this holographic reality, right? And most people, our brains think that action creates our reality, but it's backwards. Mm-hmm. Reality creates your action, right? Mm-hmm. The frequency of, you can be in happy frequency, happy mindset, happy thoughts, right? Sad frequency, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is that right now you are communicating to me, like, Jason, the actions the things I want, I don't know how to execute them right now. I mm-hmm. can't, because you're coming from a mindset that's out of alignment with the target, that's coming from a frequency that's out of alignment from the target, right? That's why forcing habits doesn't work this way. You got to change habits at this level. And one way that most people get into misalignment with their targets are conditions that they mm-hmm. don't know are running. So for example, when you started to say, well, here's this course, it wasn't marketed well. Mm-hmm. You had, and I can guarantee if we searched your data bank and your memory, you'd say, well, I went to launch it and it didn't get that. Well, it wasn't marketed well, because mm-hmm. your conditioned business brain is telling you for that to go bigger, it needs better marketing. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it then creates a condition that it's not going to grow until the marketing's there. Mm-hmm. Right? See that? So those subtle frames of conditions are how we get blocked the most. Because I know by talking to you, if I was coaching you and you're working with me, I would have to talk to you about taking action. Mm-hmm. You're not at that level of coaching. Mm-hmm. But this subtle stuff is because the second we create, what if, we could make one phone call, or you go talk somewhere, or you send one email, and all of a sudden you got 50 people signed up for your course.
Oh yeah.
So let's make sure that we are starting to remove conditions. And a lot of times we end up thinking action is required for success. Well, it's not. I'm going to go do this amazing thing. I got to take action. Because usually when we set a big goal, then the brain will say, oh, you got to go do this. And then your brain's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm mm-hmm. going to do this. But it's still in the future tense, right? I'm going to do this. The success is in the future. So you're still in the frame of misalignment. Mm-hmm. So to pull yourself faster, because the second you get into an aligned frame, your mindset is going to shift and you're going to start thinking different ideas. That's what we're after, because the law of attraction starts with frequency of you through mindset, through action, through desire. And where we want to get you to is naturally inspired action instead of forced grinding.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that.
But and the way to get there right now is to just slow down and take a break.
Yeah.
And also even just daydream a bit. Oh, that's going to happen. This problem is being solved. The staff thing is improving. The client thing is there because that's a present thought that's going to give you different thoughts, different frequency. And all of a sudden, one day, maybe you eat a salad every day for lunch. Next day, you're going to say, I want to go to get a burger. And you go to In-N-Out and you meet a new contact and boom.
Yeah.
So it's that, which you would know if you had a lot of space, you would operate that way because I know you're aligned with your body. So it's like self-care and get yourself a resource. If ideally a coach would be useful for you too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you because I was saying this weekend, I can't think or can't process until I have quiet. I have to have them. And I've been going so grinding for the last 9 to 12 months that there's no time. The first day we were gone, I couldn't do a damn thing. Second day, I finally allowed myself. I was moody as all get out. Second day, I'm like, oh, I'm happy. I can see the forest for the trees. Now all the inspiration's there, great. But I never allow myself to do that, or my circumstances haven't been allowing me to do that. So having that time to be creative is when all my big shifts have happened in my life, and it's just getting out of the way. And if I manifest it, my action tab is very, very strong when I have the space to do it. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I don't know if you follow me on Facebook, but I went on this 8-day Baja trip. Mm-hmm. Like we did the side-by-sides from San Diego all the way to Cabo.
Wow.
And it was like 8 days off-road and it took me like 4 days to finally relax. So I completely get it. And I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful out here. So like you should take a vacation.
Yeah.
Even if it's, I would even if you don't have the means or logistics to leave somewhere,
just do it anywhere.
Just take it anyway, but like get away from your phone from like 4 days.
Yeah.
Because you need to take your own medicine.
Yeah, I take care of everybody else. It's like I always say, my cup is so empty. There's not much to give anymore. So it takes it.
So who's the body worker you go to when you need body work?
I just rub up against the door jamb. It does wonders. That and just weep uncontrollably.
You don't have a person? You don't have a person?
For me to get what I give people, I go to 4 different people.
Okay.
So I get little nuggets here, but it's more of an inconvenience for them. Like I'm usually the one taken care of, so I don't really have somebody who fills me up. But literally just time off does wonders for me. Just being outside, not in a dark hole, I'm happy.
Okay. What are you doing the rest of today?
I have back-to-back patients.
Okay.
Tomorrow I've got off.
Okay. So let's take tomorrow off. Mm-hmm. And maybe in the meantime between patients, you close your eyes or don't look at your phone.
Yeah.
Would that be helpful?
I can do that.
Okay. All right. Does that sound good? Is this helpful?
Yeah, very much. Thank you. Just reiterating a lot of the mental gymnastics I've been doing the last couple of days.
Definitely. All right, Holden, great to connect with you today, brother.
Thank you so much, man.
And thanks for watching. This is an episode of Do the Impossible podcast. If you'd like to get your own sample of coaching, go to freeintrosession.com. And until then, go do the impossible. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.